if I only had 15 to 20 minutes to train and I had access to a gym, then here's what I'd be doing to improve physique and performance. The first thing is called a barbell complex. Grab yourself a bar, and then a complex is just a series of movements back to back. You only reset the bar when you're done. So key things to bear in mind here: one, think about how many times the bar goes from front to back or vice versa. Two, you're going to probably want something explosive, something squatting related, something hip bending related, and some kind of push and pull. We're going to start with 3 sets of 6. As you move your sessions on during the week, you might add a rep. When you get to 3 sets of 10, if you can complete that with a strict minute rest in between, then you're probably ready to add a little bit of weight and then reset from your 3 sets of 6. So I'm going to perform 6 jumps. Then a squat variation. Again, this doesn't have to be an overhead squat. This could be a back squat. This could be a front squat if you find it more comfortable, but just something that gets you moving from top to bottom. I then perform a hip bending movement. This is something like a good morning, pushing my hips back. Again, I'll show you what this looks like from the side. I'm getting a maximal stretch on my hamstring. Once I've done 6, I then probably go for a behind the neck press, keeping my ribs down. And then I bring the bar over myself and I perform some kind of pulling movement. By stacking the movements back to back, I get a cardiovascular workout. I also get used to performing weighted movements at a lower intensity. I'm going to improve cardiovascularly. By stacking those reps up, we've done explosive movement, which we won't count. Squat, hinge, push, pull, 6 reps of each, 24 reps. But because it's done at a lighter weight, it's enough to improve cardiovascular endurance. It's enough to be a little bit of a stimulus towards hypertrophy. But most importantly, we can stack a lot of work in a small amount of time. The next thing we're going to look at is ladders. So not things that we climb with, but ladders come from the world of kettlebells, and it's just simply a different way of attributing or prescribing rep ranges. So for example, rather than doing 4 sets of 5, you're going to do something like a set of 10, a set of 5, a set of 3, a set of 2. So if you're lucky enough to have different kettlebells, then great. You've got 2 choices. You can rest as long as you need, or the rest can simply be how long it takes you to change weight. Any multi-joint movement works here. We're gonna have something that is using multiple muscle groups, which means that the recovery cost is gonna be quite high. We are gonna get out of breath, and most importantly, because we're working across a range of rep ranges, we're gonna get strong. We're gonna neatly package the volume, but also the psychology of going for a heavy set of 2 to then a lighter set of 10 means that psychologically that set of 10 feels easier than if, for example, you were performing multiple sets of 10. Whip round 1 set of 10, 5, 3, 2 for being able to maintain your strength. 2 sets, 10, 5, 3, 2, 10, 5, 3, 2 is enough to get the heart pumping. 3 sets, you'll wonder why you're so sore next day. But we're just drip feeding the movement. So I'm going to show you an example. So if I was to use the single arm overhead press, I'm just going to do this all on my left side just for sake of example. So I'm going to whip through 10 here. Now we could easily be doing an incline bench press, set of 10 at 40 kilos, then we'd add weight, say 45 kilos, then we'd add weight again for the triple, say 50 kilos, and then we'd finish on a double, so 60 kilos. Then when you drop back down to your set of 10, you then leave 45 kilos on the bar. So the key thing being that, I'm going to take a break just to explain the concept. For example, 10 reps at 40 kilos, 5 reps at say 45 kilos, 3 reps at 50 kilos, 2 reps at 55. Then you drop back down, so then you're at 45 kilos for 10 reps, 50 kilos for 5, 55 for 3, 60 for 2. You get the idea. I'm going to finish off this ladder because I've still got, for example, 3 reps on this side, but the idea being, especially when we're doing single side work, which I'm doing now, it's going to allow me to stack up a lot of reps in a short space of time. I can rest for longer if I need to, so there you can see my body's twisting to try and compensate or deal with the weight, but the idea is we're getting a lot of work done in a short space of time. The last thing I'm going to show you is modified from the world of CrossFit. These are called every minute on the minute, but this key change is I'm going to specifically use a mobility exercise. If I'm feeling like my body's a bit beaten up, it's a good way of combining conditioning with rehab. So for example, I'm going to show you variations of the movement. So we could have something like a rear foot elevated split squat. We could have a pigeon split squat. It's something that's going to work me towards my end ranges with every minute on the minute. What this means is I grab my stopwatch, and when, for example, it hits the minute, I perform a certain number of reps. So let's say it's 5 reps each side. I then rest for the remainder of the minute, and I complete this for say 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to show you an example. So let's say I'm doing my rear foot elevated split squat. When my watch hits, I'm going to disappear out of shot. I'm going to slide by. I'm going to move this back. But when my watch hits the minute, I perform a given number of reps. They disappear. So I'm here. I perform my 5 reps, or whatever number it is. I'm exaggerating a range of motion, or I'm picking an exercise that allows me to do that. I recover for the rest of the minute, and then I'm into the next exercise. So there you have it. 3 methods if I'm short on time. Complexes, so I perform 6 to 10 reps of an exercise, then I go straight into the next one until I've done my required number of exercises. You take a minute rest between. You then got ladders, so for example, 10 reps at a lighter weight, add weight for 5, add weight for 3, add weight for 2. Rest as long as you feel necessary. If it's a time-packed session, the rest might be simply whatever it is to change the weight. If you need more rest, take it. But if we've only got 15 minutes, we don't really want to be doing something that necessitates us resting for 2-3 minutes because it's just a colossal waste of time. The final one, you might not have heard me that well, but it's called a rehab EMOM, every minute on the minute. It might be an exercise of 5 to 8 reps, then you rest for the remainder of the minute. As you get fitter, you might be able to do, for example, 2 rehab or mobility type exercises, but it should be something that kind of combines mobility with strength. So for example, rear foot elevated split squats are great. Upper body wise, something like a dumbbell pullover is great, but anything that's got that deep range of motion. Push-ups on the rings are great as well because it's an exaggerated range of motion compared to a normal push-up or compared to a bench press where, for example, the range of motion would be dictated when the bar hits your chest. Hope you found these helpful. If so, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you've got any other questions, leave them in the comments.